welcome you on behalf of the Faculty of Dental Sciences. I would like to welcome you for this virtual forum.
Thank you, the organizing committee, for inviting me to do this inaugural lecture in this series, which I think is a very, very good idea, because our students will feel that they are not alone. People who are planning to get married next year may not be able to get married next year. People who are thinking of starting a practice or work next year may not be able to do that. But we must think that the life is like that. Life is not a bed of roses. We cannot have it our way. The viruses can have their own way sometimes. Small virus can dictate to us. We have to accept that fact. We cannot be discouraged. We cannot be disheartened. We cannot be frustrated. We have to think positively in this hour of peril, great peril. The whole world is undergoing this pandemic. So we have to fight hard to overcome these problems. We have to think positively. What are we going to do to think positively?
Sure.
But we have only one life. We have only one life. So this period where your universities are closed, schools are closed, we must do some other work that we can do to fill every minute of our life. Every minute of our life is important for us. Not just the BDS, not just the practice, not just getting married. Every minute of our life is important for us. It must be filled up. Every minute must be filled up with some useful work. So during this period, it is an opportunity for you. It is an opportunity for you to do things that you have not been able to do while in the university. You could develop the reading habit, for instance. That's what I did when I was faced with this kind of problem. Read literature. Good literature helps you to see life properly, understand life properly, become a good human being. And also this may be the time to develop your other skills, your talents, music, art, drawing. Then this is the time to deal with your weaknesses also. If you have any weaknesses, recognize those and improve those. Life is not, as I said earlier, bed of roses. The virus may be here for some time and may go away. But another crisis might happen in life. We have to develop our ability, our strengths to cope with these kind of crises, these kinds of problems that come in our life. In our personal life also we may have problems in our personal life. So we have to face these problems all the time. So we have to, as I said earlier, strengthen our character.
So that if you can identify these things in your life and to have these turning points in your life during this turbulence time, especially, I'm sure that your destination would be much colorful and you would see a lot of things that you would have never seen before. If you can grab the opportunities that come in your way within the faculty and even from the outside educational and social opportunities, just grab it. How I educated myself was I had certain things in my life. My cup was complete and I was not willing to empty my cup to get certain points. It was full of my ego, full of my ideas and full of my commitment. That's fine. But at certain points in our lives, we need to unlearn certain things. We have to unlearn certain things. Unlearning is a vital factor at certain points in your life. And also we need to relearn and learn as well. So learning, relearning, unlearning are some of these vital factors associated with educating ourselves. Implement these 5 E's and implement these 7 R's of getting you back on track and to go through success. Do SWOT analysis, have SMART goals. Believe in yourself that I am a member of this wonderful league, wonderful faculty that have the adopted ability, the agility, adoption to the situation to pursue excellence. You are more than you think.
Can we really manage time? My answer will be literally the time cannot be managed. So the reality of time management is not literally managing time, it's about managing yourself. It's about managing your workload within the given time. අපිට දවසට තියෙන පැය 24 ඇතුළත අපේ තියෙන රාජකාරී ටික මැනේජ් කරගන්නේ කොහොමද කියන එක තමයි time management කියන එකේ practicality එක. Time management means how you are going to plan your workload within a given specific time frame, and how you are going to allocate the resources you have to complete those tasks. The analysis of how working hours or working time are spent, and prioritization of tasks in order to maximize personal efficiency. This personal efficiency can be work related or it can be your personal life. This term prioritization is really important. The reason is we have number of tasks. Much time management system personal organization, so I messed up with everything. You don't need a personal organizer, time management system, a specific plan, a kind of a tool to manage your time. It's all about you. What I mean by this is like managing the time is about breaking habits. There are some habits that makes you a little inefficient in managing time. අපි සමහර පුරුදු තියෙනවා අපි ඒ පුරුදු වලට හරි කැමති මොකද ඒවා අපි එන්ජොයි කරනවා ඒ නිසා අපි ඒවට වැඩි වෙලාවක් යොදවනවා.
I think this kind of activity will certainly will help to build up a complete person with many qualities which will be a asset to the country. එනිසා මම අගය කරනවා දැනට ඊටේ සිද්ධ වෙන වැඩ අලුතෙන් සංගම් හදාගෙන විෂය පරිබාහිර දේවල් ගැන අපි කරගෙන යන දේවල් මම හිතන්නේ ඉතාම වැදගත්.
Now the stage is handed over to you, dear students.
I'm Divya Pereira from the 18th batch, and we have.
I am Divaharan. We are here to see the wonderful event, Esperanza.
ඒවා අඳින්න ගත්තේ කොරෝනා පීරියඩ් එක ඇත්තටම පාළුව තනිකම දුක ඔය ටික යවා ගන්න තෝරගත්තු ප්‍රධාන ක්‍රමයක් තමයි මේ චිත්‍ර අඳින එක කොරෝනා කාලේදී.
පැන්ඩමික් එක හින්දා ඇත්තටම ගොඩක් ෆොටෝග්‍රැෆි වලට වෙලාව හම්බුණා. මම හිතන්නේ අපි හැමෝටම තව කියන්න ඕන එකක් තමයි පේරා වලට ගියපු එකෙන් අපි හැමෝටම ලොකු chance එකක් ඒ තරම් nature එක ඒ තරම් ලස්සන පරිසරයක ඉන්න එකෙන් අපි hostel එකේ ඉඳන් faculty එකට උදේට කලබලෙන් දුවන වෙලාවේ වුණත් ඒ එන චූටි වෙලාවේ අර දකින්න ෆොටෝ එකක් capture කරගන්න එක phone එකකින් හරි කොළඹ ඉඳලා පේරා වලට ගියන් පස්සේ එකපාරටම එක paradise ම තමයි.
මුලින්ම කේක් එක හැදුවේ අපේ ෆස්ට් වේව් එකට පස්සේ. ඉතින් ඒකෙන් චුට්ට ස්කිල් එක ඩෙවලොප් කරගෙන අන්තිමට කොහොම හරි ලස්සනට හදන්න පුළුවන්. ඉතින් පවුලේ අයට කේක්ස් හදලා දෙන්න පුළුවන් වුණා. යාළුවන්ට. ඉතින් ඒක ඇත්තටම ලොකු දෙයක්.
සයුරු රළ නැවුබඳේ පුනාදෙන් අහස කුකුරා එකලු වූවාදෙන් රජුන් කෝපව වියුරු වැටුනාදෙන්
පොඩි කාලෙත් යාළුවන්ගේ උපන්දිනවලට මගේ අතින්ම හදලා මේ වගේ කාඩ්ස් ඒ වගේ දේවල් දෙන්න කැමති. ඉතින් මේ පැන්ඩමික් සිටුේෂන් එකත් එක්ක ගෙදර ඉන්නකොට මම ආපහු මේ වගේ දේවල් හදන්න පටන් ගත්තා.
ගැටගෙන නිදහසේ මතින් මත්තුනා
A very good evening to all of you. Today, we have quite an interesting and important session organized by the Shaping Our Lives team of the Faculty of Dental Sciences, University of Peradeniya. This is the 7th session since our team began its wonderful journey, a journey on which we endeavor to nurture the younger generation, allow them to express, to create and enjoy, so as to help them become coherent individuals in the society. We are a few minutes behind our schedule, so without further delay, I would like to introduce you to our special guest this evening. Today, to benefit all the future dental surgeons, we have an eminent speaker and renowned personality joining us with his intriguing title, "The World is Your Oyster." Ladies and gentlemen, dear students, we are extremely grateful to have Professor D.Y.D. Samaravikrama, a specialist in restorative dentistry and endodontics, Professor Emeritus of Queen Mary University of London, a visiting professor of our very own university, the immediate past president of Commonwealth Dental Association, and an examiner in many international as well as local educational authorities. And he is here today to help us shape our lives. Now let me cordially invite Dean of the Faculty of Dental Sciences, University of Peradeniya, Professor Manjula Artigala, to officially welcome all of you to our session today.
Thank you, Rimna. Very good afternoon to evening to all of you. And today's guest speaker, Professor D.Y.D. Samaravikrama, our sole chairman, Professor Chanta Javadana, Professor Dilip Silva, all academic members, my dear students, and the non-academic staff. Actually, I'm very pleased about this program, which will definitely must have helped you to be with more confidence and to learn about the necessary generic skills in order to make your professional life sort of more fruitful. In our curriculum, one aspect that I see which is bit deficient is this aspect. If you think of some other universities, they give much more prominence to this. They call it personal and professional development. And it starts right at the beginning and runs throughout the course. And although it's not assessed and sort of given any credits as such, but they will be giving much more importance within the course. Now we have a small component included, but still then, I think that has to be improved in a bigger way. I'm sure we have competent, capable staff dedicated, like the SOL team, as well as our newly joined experts in human resources, etc. Will definitely make myself at better hands, as well as your career will be directed towards a very good path. So to make that more meaningful, today we have a sort of a very eminent speaker who is no stranger to us actually. I mean, I think you all are harvesting the efforts of him as well as his colleagues in UK. The Delu, the computers that you use today, the library, most of the books, expensive books that you use today are actually the efforts of their efforts. I didn't have the fortune to undergo training under user actually at that time. By the time we entered, you have left the dental school. He was for a long time teacher, academic, involved with the Faculty of Dental Sciences. Since then, he had done marvelously internationally and done superbly. You have seen the titles, best teacher and all. I'm not going to elaborate much because there is a very good video, as well as Professor Chanta will be introducing him properly. So, sir, I would like to welcome you officially as the Dean of the Faculty, as well as we are very grateful to your efforts right through in doing the curriculum, as well as helping out with the infrastructure and all other means. So thank you very much, and we are very much welcome. He's a visiting professor of ours, so I'm thankful for that as well. With the Professor Tilakaratna and others, they have paved the way. So thank you. And I officially welcome all of you, the staff, the students, as well as everyone. So I think it's very fruitful, sort of very instructive, informative lecture that you are, not a lecture, I suppose that he's going to interactive as well, so that you will get the maximum out of it. So without taking much time, thank you for organizing this kind of work, and we will support you. And I hope that as students, you will get the maximum out of this exercise. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Let me now invite the innovative thinker and the great pillar of support and motivation behind the Shaping Our Lives team, the founding convener, Professor Chanta Jayawardena, to introduce our chief guest and the speaker for the evening. Madam, it's over to you.
Very good evening to all of you. Thank you, Dr. Nimna, for your kind words. Dear Professor Artigala, Dean, Faculty of Dental Sciences, Professor D.Y.D. Samaravikrama, our distinguished speaker today, staff of the Faculty of Dental Sciences, join with us physically and online, and other members of SLDA joining online, and my dear students who are present here and those who are joining online. So far, we have conducted all the SOL session online because of the pandemic situation. Actually, the pandemic situation gave the birth to SOL. I'm really happy to have you, sir, as the first speaker of this first physical session of the SOL. Our speaker, Professor D.Y.D. Samaravikrama, an eminent professor of the Queen Mary University of London and visiting professor of the University of Peradeniya, is one of our distinguished alumni. Although we do not meet him frequently at the FDS, we see his immense contribution to the faculty, as our dean mentioned a few minutes before, especially when we go for the fourth floor of this building. That is the dental library and the e-lab of the DILU. In most of the books you use in the library and the computers in the e-lab, you would have seen a label stating that they were donated by the SLMDA. So that is Sri Lankan Medical and Dental Association in the UK. And it was Professor Samaravikrama who was instrumental in all these donations. In fact, most of the computers in the DILU lab are received from the SLMDA through his intervention, and some of the computers are received as a personal donation from him. I thought to bring more details about Professor Samaravikrama using this video. Can I have the video, please? Please enjoy.
Professor Samaravikrama is a graduate of the Dental School, University of Singapore, Peradeniya. He is currently Emeritus Conservative Dentistry, Queen Mary University of London, UK. Prior to his retirement from full-time work, he held many positions within Queen Mary, the London University, and the National Health Services, UK. He was an external examiner to many universities in the UK and overseas. He is currently an external examiner for the General Dental Council and the University of Plymouth, UK, and academic leader for the LDSRCS examination of the Royal College of Surgeons of England, a consultant advisor to Oman Dental College, Sultanate of Oman, and the President-elect of the Commonwealth Dental Association. He is a visiting professor at the Faculty of Dental Sciences, University of Peradeniya. He was the president of the British Association of Teachers of Conservative Dentistry twice, and of the Baths and the London Alumni Association Dental Chapter once. He has served as a consultant in dental education to the World Health Organization, Pan American Health Organization, and to the Dental Council of Barbados. He was also a member of the WHO FDI Working Group on Education and Training. He has been quite active in research, having supervised a large number of MSc and PhD theses. His research interests are restorative dentistry, dental metrology, dental material science, and dental public health. He has authored more than 100 scientific publications, including several chapters in books. He has also co-authored one book. Lesser known are his contributions on a wide range of general topics to several general publications. He has won several awards during his career. Some of the key awards include the Best Dental Teacher in the UK and Ireland 2008, the Geoffrey Slock Medal for Outstanding Service to Dental Education, Queen Mary University of London, 2012, the Commonwealth Dental Association Award in recognition of his contributions over a long and sustained period of time, 2017, Honorary Life Membership of the British Dental Association in recognition of his exceptional contribution to dentistry, including dental education, both nationally and internationally, 2018. He continues to be a member of several learned societies, such as the British Society for Restorative Dentistry and the Royal Society of Medicine, UK. He lectures in his own inimitable style on a wide range of topics, both in the UK and other countries. He is passionate about education because he considers education to be the best gift one can give to the others because it can change lives. In addition, he spends considerable effort, money, and time on charitable activities because of his commitment to help the disadvantaged people in society. He is married to Padma, a retired physician. They have 2 daughters and 3 grandchildren. He spends his leisure time with his grandchildren and also gardening and traveling. Professor D.Y.D. Samaravikrama.
Thank you.
Professor Samaravikrama is a graduate of the Dental
Thank you, the
School,
video team.
University of...
In fact, this video was made few years before and used for the opening of the DILU. Sir, please forgive us for our inability to make a new video, as we have to organize this event within a short period. Dean Sir, I'm sure that we have selected the best person to deliver this talk to our students and staff today. When we look at Professor Samaravikrama's immense experience in academia, as a teacher rewarded for teaching excellence in dental education, a distinguished scholar, a supervisor, and an examiner for research degrees like MPhils and PhDs, a consultant in dental education in several institutions and in the World Health Organization, and also an examiner of several license examinations in dentistry, such as LDS, RCS, and overseas registration examination in the General Dental Council of the UK. Now, I would like to invite Professor D.Y.D. Samaravikrama to help you students expanding your horizons with his vast experience. So please give him a massive applause. Over to you, sir, now.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for your kind words, Shanta, and also Manjula. I'm not too sure where to begin. I must confess that I am a bit embarrassed about all those things said about me, because when you look at the real person, I'm just like any one of you, short in stature, slightly overweight, I think. I'm trying my best to diet, but when you are in Sri Lanka, it's very, very difficult to control the quantity of food you consume. It's so tempting. I'm known as DYD. Some call me DUD. Others think I am DIM. But those are better terms because there are much worse names some people call me with. So I don't take myself too seriously. And there's a story behind why I'm known by my initials. I'll show you later. I grew up in a village, and my father, in his wisdom, thought that villagers should not copy our names. So all our family members are known by our initials: DYD, YRD, SND, DHD, and so on and so forth. So all the letters of the alphabet in various combinations were used to describe us. But also we had another set of names by which people in the village refers to us. I won't reveal those because you will laugh if I say those terms. And we were told not to reveal our real names. So I don't introduce myself by my first name. Most will call me GYD. Few people will call me Yasas. Others call me Sam. And of course, I told you DUD and DIM. Okay. May we have the first slide, please? Oh, yeah, I got you. Sorry, which button do I press? Maybe you should. No. Maybe you can change it. Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. When Shanta asked me to talk about how what I have done and how I got there, and she suggested the title, I said, I think the best title would be "World is Your Oyster." And I hope you are very competent in using the smartphones and the computers and the tablets. You can discover Google and find out the meaning of the term "world is your oyster." And also, essentially, what it means is you can achieve anything you wish in your life and go where you want to go, because you have the ability and opportunity to do so. We all have the ability, we all have the opportunity, but not all of us seize the opportunity. I am one of those who seized the opportunities presented to me. I'm not anybody different, because if you listen to all the descriptions, you would expect me to go around with a halo and a crown on my head. I don't have any of those, as you can see. I'm like any other ordinary person. And often when I'm in the village, as I did last week, I'm in my sarong and shirt and a pair of slippers, and I just walk about and no one knows who I am. And that's one of the best things about village life. You walk along the paddy fields, you tread the footpaths and admire the plants and the like, and no one knows who you are, and it's wonderful to be like that. So there is a quotation I start with. You can read it yourself. It says, when you turn your attention to the limitless, the irritation seems small compared to the sun and the moon and the stars. When you imagine the infinite, you are touched by your infinite self. In other words, we have so much power, ability, and competence within us. And it is for us to open ourselves and let go and release our energies within us. It's not rocket science. It is possible if we believe in ourselves. There are no shortcuts, and there are a few simple things we can do. So first of all, you want to know who I am. So I will tell you a little bit about myself. Okay. First of all, I'm a pensioner. I retired about 13 years ago. So I live on a pension. That's the first thing you must remember. I remember at one of the events I had to attend, and we were all introducing ourselves. People are trotting out their CVs and qualifications and the like. When it was my turn, I said, I'm a pensioner, which is true. They all laugh, but that's what I am. But I am also having village roots. I grew up in a village called Lakiadenia in Galle district. It's about 16 miles from Galle. That's where I grew up. I went to the village school. I didn't have shoes to wear, slippers to wear. We went to school barefoot. And then, of course, I passed the entrance examination to Mahinda College, and I went to Mahinda College. From grade 6 onwards till I went to the university. But I had never forgotten my village roots, and I still go back to the village and enjoy my time. And a lot of my classmates are there still, shopkeepers and farmers and the like. I am proud that I am the very first one to go to the university from my village, because only a handful of us went to the university, half a dozen, I think. And the day I went to the university was an interesting event. I took the bus to Galle, and then train to Colombo, and then to Peradeniya. But the whole village turned up to see me off getting into the bus with my suitcase. I was very much touched by that, because villagers were very proud that somebody from the village was going to the university. So I returned to village regularly and see my friends. Some are not very keen to meet me. I suppose they had not gone as far as I have gone. Okay. So I'm from humble beginnings. Didn't have much money. You know, there are times we have skipped meals. So what? Another meal will come another time. And Mahinda College actually shaped a lot of things for me. Those days we had no options given to us as far as what we wanted to do or what we wanted to be. I want to be an economist. That was my interest. Even now, I do write articles on economics to various journals. I'm not an economist as such, but I have an interest. But the principal and the vice principal, in their wisdom, decided that I should do the sciences. No argument, no questions. I was told that's what you are going to do, DYD. So I did that, and I ended up doing dentistry. Not something I wanted to do, but I thought, hey, I got this opportunity to make the most of it. And I applied myself and did just that, okay? So I graduated a long time ago, 1968, long before your parents were born, right? And you might think, how is this ancient dentist coming and talk to us on modern dentistry? Because people like Manjula, people like Prasad, and people like Dilip are much more, Chanta and others are much more up to date than I am, because they have graduated decades after I did. However, I can give a run for their money because of CPD, continuing professional development, continuing professional education. Learning is fun, and I have never given up learning. You have seen a whole lot of qualifications I have. They just happen to come by, and I think 2 more are due this year, next year. You might think, is he after qualification? No, they just happen to come by, and because I have lived long enough, I'm 77 years of age now, they happen to come by. I don't ask for them, but they offer them to me for various reasons. So why not? Dental faculty was a very different place. We were in Augusta Hill at the time. And we had what you call core-driven engines, no air rotors or anything like that. Foot pedals and the like, very different place. And my class had only 25 to start with. By the time we graduated, it was down to 20. Okay, and then I went to the UK in 1970. But there is an interesting story there too. Our finals were in 1968. After final examination was over, all my classmates or batchmates, as you would call them, had went away. I stayed behind, not because not only because I like Peradeniya or candy. I had a job to do. It was simply because I did not want to leave my patients high and dry. I had a lot of patients. I wanted to stay behind and complete those patients. So I stayed to complete the patients even after the examination. I didn't go home. I thought I'd better complete all my work, not leave any loose ends. And just after the final examination board meeting, I remember I was working in the clinic and late Professor S.P. Dissanayake, who was the dean at the time, came and called me. And in his own inimitable style, he said, Samara Vikrama, could you come and have a word with me? So I went away. And he asked me, you have come first in the class. We would like to recruit you to the staff. I was surprised. And he said, you have better go home, tell your parents and come back. So I went home, told my parents, and 2 days later I was back and started as a temporary assistant lecturer in conservative dentistry. And my first class was actually happened to be my friends because they were the year immediately below me who I had to teach. And so I carried on. I was nervous, obviously, having to take a class of students, but I must say they were very, very well behaved and they did not hassle me. They did not make life difficult for me. And I was able to do my teaching. How did I get this far? Simple. Hard work and more hard work. Even to going to the UK for my postgraduate education was very simple for me. I didn't make any applications to anybody. As an undergraduate, I had lots of patients, as I told you before, and one of the patients happened to be late Professor of Surgery, Peradeniya University, Medical School, Professor Keerthisingham. He was one of my patients. And after I joined the staff also, I continued to treat him and his wife and his family. And one day he asked, TYD, what are you going to do about postgraduate study? I said, I haven't thought anything about it. So he just said, all right, I'll send you to where I train. I said, where is that? He said, London Hospital Medical College. It's now known as Queen Mary, University of London. So he said he will send me there. So he wrote to the Dean of the Medical Schools, late Sir John Ellis. And a couple of weeks later, I got a letter from the Dean of the Dental School saying, we would like you to have you come to us and do your postgraduate training. So in October 1970, I went to the UK and started my PhD training program. No interviews, just a letter right? And I went with £3 in my pocket, because that was the time there were a lot of restrictions on foreign exchange. And I was paid the princely sum of £40 a month for my living expenses and everything else. Tuition fees were £200, which the university paid. And I lived on £40 a month, £10 a week. That's all I had to live by. And did my PhD and carried on. Okay. Important thing is commitment. As I said before, I had a commitment to my patients. So I never went away. I stayed and completed them. If you take on a job, if you earn people's trust to treat them, you treat them and complete the work. You don't run away halfway. I didn't want to pass them on to somebody else to finish. I wanted to complete my work myself. I did that. I did the same thing with Professor Keita Singh and many others. So they knew that I will not let them down. I suspect he was happy to send me to his alma mater, where he trained. And so I went. And the thing is, if you promise something, you must deliver. No broken promises. I'm not a politician. I'm an educator. That's my passion. I'm an academic. And also, I have a lot of interest in students. And I am very happy that Shanta has started this program because I was in charge of welfare of students at Queen Mary for 6 years. Because it is an important aspect as an academic for us to look after our students, not only academically, socially and other aspects also. Remember, I was young once. I was a teenager. I was in my 20s. And you are young and you sometimes need some guidance, some attention. Of course, the problems I had to deal with are sometimes very tragic. I had to deal with unwanted pregnancies. I had to deal with abortions. I had to deal with drug taking, unintended violence, and so many issues I had to deal with as a person responsible for student welfare. So there was students with psychiatric problems, mental issues. There were some students who were suffering from bulimia, all those things. So I am a trained counselor, because for that job you need to be trained. And also you have got to be mentally tough, because you are sharing other people's worries and burdens and concerns. There are some with financial issues, and there are times you just pocket out and help them financially without expecting anything in return. That's the important thing, because they need help. And if you can help, you do it. Just get on in and do it. Because I have had a lot of helping hands, but I don't believe that you need a bit of luck. You make your own luck. Like the opportunity I was given by Professor Keita Singh, like the opportunity given to me by Professor Dissanayake. I made my own luck because of my dedication, my commitment. They recognized that and offered me an opportunity, and I seized those opportunities with both hands. And that's what I would hope you would do. And you have heard this, those of you who are in comprehensive oral care would have heard me say that you must work to the highest standard. No point doing anything if you can't do it to a high standard. I go on about it quite a lot, yes, and you may get tired of it. But that is the only way I know to do a job, no matter what. Sometimes you may have to put in long hours. Yes, so what? Hard work never killed anybody. Not to my knowledge, anyway. And so you deliver to a high standard. Whatever you undertake, you deliver. I was given the job of coordinating book donation program by the Sri Lankan Medical and Dental Association. So I put my heart and soul into it. There are so many other programs. you do it and get on with and do it to a high standard. Yes, I have traveled the world because people ask me to do jobs and they know that I will deliver. And that's the same commitment you should, I hope, will display in years to come by, in months to come by, deliver to a high standard, not second rate. Because if you accept average, the second rate, then we will never ever progress. Never ever progress. And it is within ourselves. We have the power. We go and learn ourselves. We will find out. And things are a lot easier now than during our time. We didn't have the internet. We didn't have the mobile phones. I remember when I wanted to call home, of course, we didn't have telephones at home. So you telephone somebody who has a telephone. You have to book a call in the morning, and in the afternoon, the operator in London will tell you your call is available now. You have 3 minutes to talk. So you say whatever you have within 3 minutes, and that's it. So it takes such a long time. And innovation, think of innovating. And I will give you some examples later on, and do something original. I have done original things with examinations, with curricula, with teaching, because we have got to think and come up with something that will make learning fun, teaching and learning fun, and share in our knowledge, sharing our knowledge. That's what I hope I can do with you. And I, of course, listen to a different drummer, very different drummer. A lot of my colleagues who have retired are enjoying their life. Nothing wrong with that at all. They play golf, they play tennis, they go on cruises, and they go on holidays. But I have chosen to continue to do my work, because work is what I enjoy. Sharing what little experience I have, the knowledge I have is what I enjoy. And so the tune I listen to is different to others. But hey, so that's not a problem. That's not a sin. You do your own thing. You do what you enjoy doing. And I hope you will find something or things that you would enjoy doing for the rest of your life. As I speak, my younger daughter is holidaying in Sri Lanka, but I'm doing this, and she knows that that's what I enjoy, and she has her own family and enjoying her holiday. Nothing wrong with that. We do our different things. And fortunately, I have a very supportive family, and they know that what I enjoy is work and teaching. And they don't interfere, they don't try to prevent me from doing that. And they are very, very supportive. And they will say, hey, Dad, go and do what you like. Okay? And always have an inquiring mind. And there's a saying underneath, most people look at things and wonder why. I look at things and ask, wonder why not? So always question, always reflect, and we'll look behind what is given to you. Look behind what you see. Open the parcel and see what is inside. Do not hesitate. Open the box. You may be disappointed sometimes. You'll be surprised at other times. So still open the box. Peel away the outer layers and see what is inside. Ask questions. And the other thing is what we call selfless service. Serve others. Because life is short and we have to live in a society. We can't live alone unless you are a hermit and go and live in a cave and meditate all by yourself. Yeah, that's okay if you want to do that. But I have chosen a different path, and I hope you will choose a different path. Be service to your fellow citizens, fellow students. I remember even as an undergraduate, I used to teach my fellow batchmates because would ask me, and I was happy to teach. Of course, the benefit was I understood the things better myself by trying to explain some concept to others, and things clarified in my own mind as I try to explain it to somebody else. So give and don't expect anything in return. And don't have to run after glory. You don't have to run after reward. They will come after you, and you pick and choose which ones you want to accept. But it's not the main driving force. Main driving force is that doing something I enjoy doing, sharing my good fortune with others, and being able to point the way. You are young, you have the whole future ahead of you. I know things look rather bleak now, especially in Sri Lanka. Mind you, it is not only in Sri Lanka. Look at what's going on in Ukraine. So, but tomorrow will be a better day. Tomorrow will be a better day. I promise you that. I will not make it happen. You will make it happen. Tomorrow will be a better day. But also, never forget the past. Never forget the past. I have never forgotten that I am from the village. And so I go back to my roots. And that's an important aspect, to have your feet firmly on the ground. And villages have very fine qualities. Last week was a sad occasion for me. My sister passed away, and the funeral was in the village, but all the villagers rallied to do everything that was necessary. They didn't wait to be asked. They just did it. That's the village life. You know each other. They come and do the work for you. You see, and so it is important for you to remember your roots. And also treating others with consideration and respect. Do not be rude. Do not always be polite. It's important to be polite and important to treat people with respect. Some of you must have heard me calling you madam or sir or all that sort of thing as fellow students, but you may be surprised, but one day you will be a professional like me. And I run parts of registration examination, and one of these registration examination in the UK had a very bad reputation because it is a difficult examination, and foreign trained graduates, international graduates sit for these examinations, and they are not treated well. They are not treated with respect. When I came on the scene, I told my fellow examiners, remember, they are dental professionals. They may not have qualified in the UK, but they are dentists too. And if we meet at a conference, we'll be saying, greeting each other and exchanging our business cards. So think of that. And one day, when they get the registration, they pass the registration examination, they will be our colleagues, working alongside us. And there's an old saying, be careful who you meet when you go up, because you might meet the same one when you come down too. So it is important that you respect people, to treat people with respect and kindness. Okay? And simply, you treat others the way you want yourself to be treated. If you are rude to others, then expect to be treated rudely yourself. Be kind and be generous in spirit, okay? And reflection. I know I mentioned this in one of our webinars the other day for COC, because we have a case presentation discussion on Monday afternoons. And I said you need to reflect on your work. Now, reflective practice is something I introduced into our school in 1996. We were the first to do it. And it has become very much currency in all the schools, all all over the world. Because you need to ask yourself, how can I do this better? What did I do? And I gave you 5 things to look at. What did I do? How did I do it? Why did I do it? Did anything go wrong? And how can I do this better next time? I always keep asking myself, can I do this job better? And it is an important aspect, the reflection. Even in my life, I reflect and think, could I do things better? In moments of quiet solitude, I will be thinking, how did today how did today go by? Was there anything I did wrong? Was there anything I could have done better? It's always a good thing to reflect on what you have done, so that tomorrow you will be a better person. You will not make the same mistake. You learn from your mistakes. And to me, disappointments and failures are learning opportunities. And I'm sure you will find that too. And keep learning. As I said, I graduated decades ago, very different materials. There was no composite at the time. We have, of course, had amalgam, which is being phased out now. Okay, of course, we had acrylic, but a lot of the techniques were different. But I have kept on learning, updating myself, attending courses, reading, and listening to lectures, discussing with others, and keep myself updated. And I advise you to do the same. Never stop learning. Always there's something new to learn. Even my granddaughter tries to teach me, but they are very much more competent than I am with computers and smartphones. Of course, the youngest granddaughter says that, see, yeah, you are as slow as a tortoise. Yes, I am slow. That's what age does to you, but it doesn't mean that you can't get to the destination. The hare will run and get to the destination, but as a tortoise, I will keep a steady pace and get there too. Okay. And also, I'm very passionate about education. My parents are teachers, and my father always used to say, education is the best gift one can give because it can change lives. It certainly changed my life. It was the education that changed my life. They had the wisdom to give me opportunities to learn. As I said, a lot of my classmates decided to stay in the village and do the ordinary jobs. Fuel pump attendants, farmers, rubber tappers, or the shopkeepers, or run a garage. But I chose a different path because my parents thought we should have an education. So I seized the opportunity and never looked back. So that is very, very important to me. It gave me an opportunity, changed my life. So I will say, this is the wonderful opportunity you have got being here at the Faculty of Dental Sciences. And when I look at the staff list, this is one of the best staff dental schools in the world. Well-qualified, well-trained staff. We don't have this number. 20 years ago, yes, we did have a lot of staff, but not now. Most teachers are now part-time. We have very small number of full-time staff because people don't want to come into academia. It's hard life. Not only have you got to keep up to date, you have to keep learning. You have to satisfy so many regulators, research output, clinical output, service needs to be met, looking after students. It takes a toll. So we have very small number of full-time staff, very large number of part-time staff, and it's very, very hard to maintain standards because often when I was running the department, I had 16 full-time and a handful of part-time. Now 5 full-time about 50 part-time. And all of the teachers can't meet because they come in different days, different sessions. So it's hard to have a staff meeting even. So there's a little bit of confusion because they will say, this is the way I do in my practice, do it this way. Then another teacher will say, this is the way I do it in practice, do it my way. So it is very confusing. I had, during my time when part-time staff came, I used to say, yes, I know you have better ways of doing things, but when you are here, follow the party line. And this is the party line. And follow the party line. Okay. At the end of the day, you have to search for the opportunities. And when the opportunities come your way, grab them. You should be wise enough to, smart enough to recognize the opportunities and grab them. And please do not wait for others to give it to you on a plate. People are busy. They have other things to do. You need to search. And you have ways of searching yourself now. It's much easier than during my time. I know you are very active in social media, but you can be active as far as academic material is concerned too. There are a lot of learning material available. I do a lot of repairs at home. Where do I learn? Of course, I have now discovered YouTube. So you look at YouTube. For me, of course, I have to view it several times to understand. I'm a slow learner. And then I'm able to repair things. So there are learning opportunities only if you care to look. Obviously, we need to know what we are looking for. And also we must be outward looking, not inward looking. And I firmly believe if we are working for an institution, we must serve the institution first and foremost. If you think, no, I'm going to look after myself, it's not going to happen. If everyone starts looking after themselves only, institution is not going to flourish. If the institution is not going to flourish, you are not going to flourish. You don't have the opportunities to come your way. The institution must grow for us to grow, for us to have opportunities. So I have always served the institution. And that is the reason I believe I have been given more and more jobs to do. I'll give you an example. It was in the late 1990s. We didn't have a endodontic postgraduate course at the time. And one of my colleagues, I will not mention the name, wanted to launch a endodontic postgraduate program, but not the way we would have run it. So it was April, and there was the Good Friday, the Saturday, the Easter Sunday, and the Monday. On Thursday, my dean called me, sent me a message, Sam, can you come and see him? So I went to see the dean, and dean said, one of our colleagues is trying to launch this program. It is the wrong way of doing things. Can you take this on and write the curriculum, prepare the examination schedule, and have everything ready by next week, the following week, because there was a university board meeting coming up. We need to submit this proposal for its approval the following week. So I said, Prof, I'm not quite sure whether I can complete the task. Let me think. He said, yeah, Sam, we have got to do it. So I went and over the 4 days, Good Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, I did the job. And come Tuesday, I took the curriculum, the examination schedule, all the documents to him so that he could present it to the university board on Wednesday, get it approved, and we launched the course. And it became our diploma in general dental practice, endodontic practice at Queen Mary, which is now upgraded to a master's and is going to be a doctor's declined program. So that's how they would know that I will deliver. And so job is given, job is done to a high standard. It was approved by the university and you got on with it. So no, we have got to be dependable. You got to be reliable. One must deliver whatever you undertake. Okay. And sometimes you have got to take risks. The dean took a risk in giving it to me, but I suspect he thought it was a calculated risk. And I have taken risks in doing things and taken on jobs, not easy. Okay. And these are few steps you can do. You have to know our mind. We have to discover ourselves. And we do what is called SWOT analysis. Do an analysis of one's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. It is called the SWOT analysis. Institutions do this. We ourselves can do this. Every now and then I sit down. What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? Remember, they keep changing. The world around us is changing. We can't do anything about it. So we need to be alert and be prepared always. Remember the Scouts term, be prepared. We have got to be prepared, okay? And have a clear vision. I always wanted to be a teacher. I remember as an undergraduate telling my fellow students, one day I want to be a lecturer. And they used to laugh. Oh, Diwadi, you will never be one. But see where I am today. Because I had teaching experience. Even when I was at Mahinda, I was a prefect. Or every now and then, if the teachers were in short supply, the prefects were asked to take classes. So I have taught. And also, while waiting to go to the university, after A-levels and 12 months or longer, we had to wait before we went to the university, I taught in a girls' school of all places. I taught maths and sciences and Sacred Heart Convent Gaol. That was the place where I taught. And then even during university holidays, I used to go back and teach. That was fun too, but very difficult because the girls were, what shall I say? You can imagine. But mind, the Mother Superior, Sister Adrian, could not find anything wrong in the way I handled the situations. I didn't get warnings or anything like that, but it was tough. As a youngster with a whole class full of girls, okay. And so you need to have a clear vision. I'm sure all of you want to be somebody, something. Know your mind and know what you want to be. As I knew that's what I want to be. I want to be, after coming to university, that I want to be an educator. That's what I want to do. And aim high and dream big. Please dream on. See where you can go. Sky's the limit. We all have the resources, capabilities, the strength within us. If you only let the energy, if you only release our inner energy. And of course, you need to have a friend or a partner. I have been, of course, very, very fortunate. My partner in life had been a classmate of mine. We knew each other at Mahinda. And we were good friends for a long time. And I cannot say it was, I cannot say love is blind. No, for me, it wasn't one of those at all. It was a deliberate decision to select my partner. We have good friends, classmates, close friends for a long time. And first time when I asked her to marry me, she said, we are good friends. How can we be? How can we get married? But I pursued, I persisted and was able to change her mind. Okay. So go for it, But for some, love is blind. It wasn't blind for me. It was a deliberate decision I made. Because I had known her for 10 years, so I knew. Not that I didn't have any other girlfriends. I did have quite a lot of other girlfriends. You know what to are like when you are in the campus, isn't it? That's what when somebody said you are from going to the hostel Sangamitta, I knew Sangamitta Hall quite well. It was a girls' hostel then. I knew Ramanathan well. I knew the Avenue of Palms quite well. And the other one was Hilda Hall, which was another girls' hall. I knew that well. That's where my partner used to be as an undergraduate. So I knew that place well too. We look forward to our end of term, what we call hall socials. Okay, so you can entertain your friends. Yeah, I have been up to mischief too. Who isn't? Yeah, I have. But the thing is, I never got caught. I've been up to mischief, yes, but I never got caught. Right? So that's the story. I have a lot of interesting stories to tell, but I must also tell you, because I treat my students with respect and kindness, they look after me. We have a tradition, not so much now, those days, we are given a group of students to teach, and end of each term, this is in UK, we go out for a meal and a drink. Okay, so I have slept on benches, slept among the homeless, drunk and disorderly, and they will telephone home and say, Dr. Sam is not well. And my wife will ask, is he drunk again? They will say, no, he is not well, but we'll look after him and we'll bring him home tomorrow. So they will deliver me safe the next day. I have slept around benches in Candy Lake. Yeah, not unusual, you know. And you must follow your dream. Have a dream and follow it. Okay, never look back. And by doing what you love, you inspire and awaken the heart of others. I do what I enjoy doing, and I hope I will inspire you and awaken you to do what you like doing. And be generous and kind in spirit to others. And we are in this journey together, not alone. We live in a society, so we share our good fortune with others, share it with others, and inspire others, help each other. We have good times and bad times. When we see bad times affecting some of our fellow citizens, our friends, we must give a helping hand. And they will in turn give you a helping hand when you are having difficult times. Okay? Now, some practical steps. Am I okay for time, Chanta? Okay. So a lot of people have asked me, how do we practice in the UK? Well, Sri Lankan BDS is not registerable. And without registration, you cannot work in UK. So Sri Lankan graduates, Indian graduates, Australian graduates, Singapore, everybody have to sit for a registration examination. Okay. And the pass rate is very low. And one of the examinations had a very bad reputation because it was so low, very, very low. At the time I did the registration examination, long time ago, I was the only one to pass. One candidate. It's so demoralizing. Okay. And there is the LDS RCS examination run by the Royal College of Surgeons of England and overseas registration examination of General Dental Council. I have been examining both, and I have been hosting these examinations too at our institution. I'll tell a little bit more about these examinations, okay? this examination used to be a very common examination in the 60s and the 70s. All our graduates, before they do the final BDS in June, do the LDS in April as a mock examination. So they will get the LDS and then they get the BDS. Then it went out of fashion and it was revived in 2010. And I was called in to prepare the practical component. That's how I got involved. It has 2 papers, okay? Single best answer questions and extended matching questions, okay? And that is part 1. And both papers must be passed at one sitting for candidates to progress to part 2. Obviously, part 1 covers basic sciences and also what we call clinical dentistry. There are about, I can't remember, a large number of questions, and we have a board to assess those questions, and I am one of those assessing the questions, okay? Then part 2 is the difficult part, held over a minimum of 3 days, 3 sections. There's an OSCE, and they are not pen and paper stations. OSCE cover clinical decision making, interpretation of data, practical skills, okay? Whole range of things. And then an operative test on a dental mannequin. And that's the one I designed. And then there is an unseen case, in the sense you have a new patient you have to examine, diagnose, and draw up a care plan. Okay? So that is where this comprehensive oral care comes in. A lot of the candidates struggle with this one, because if you have practiced compartmentalized dentistry, you can't do this. Gather data, interpret the data, make a diagnosis, and make a care plan. It is multidisciplinary cases that we give you. Multidisciplinary, not a cons patient, as you call it, or a prosthetic patient or a perio patient. No, it's a comprehensive care. Multidisciplinary, okay? And we have that sort of detail. You can find this by visiting the LDSRCA website, okay? And the fees are pretty high. This is the bit I designed, and I didn't design it as a mechanical test. I made it a simulated clinical test. Very different to normal practical tests. You are given data. We don't tell exactly what you have got to do. You have to work out what you have got to do. The data is given, radiographs are given, history is given, you work out what is the care plan for this one, what am I supposed to be doing. Okay, and unfortunately, very high, this is the component with the highest failure rate of the 3 components, OSCE and the unseen and the like. I make no apologies, because it is to the same standard as our final BDS. Same standard as our final BDS. But because, not that you are incompetent or you don't know, because you are not trained in that thinking, clinical reasoning, clinical decision making, you struggle. And when we give a radiograph and say, design a cavity to restore this tooth, a lot of people do a old-fashioned Black's cavity. That's not what we are asking you. Look at the radiograph, look at other data we have provided you, and then design the cavity and do it. I can't give too much information because a lot of it is confidential. So I give you an idea what it is like. Okay. Then the other one is overseas registration examination. This one had 2 predecessors, international qualifying examination, and before that, a statutory examination. Okay. Again, part A has all these papers, and paper B and paper A and paper B, okay? And they are mapped to what is called preparing for practice. There's a very comprehensive document published by the General Dental Council based on the learning outcomes given in that. Based on that, only the questions are set. So first part is written papers, okay? And you can see all the details if you go to the website, General Dental Council website. So you part the written part, basic sciences, okay, clinical dentistry, law and ethics, health and safety, all those things. And then you go on to part 2. Can I move on? Do you want to read this or not? I can move on, yeah? Because you can visit the website and get all the information. And we have what are called extended matching questions. Do you use them here? You do, okay. And we have spent a lot of time actually designing questions and testing them. One of the things we do is in each paper, there are questions. You don't know that they are pilot questions, but we know, we test how the candidates perform with these questions. Then we do an analysis, and then only they become part of the proper paper. When it comes to OSCE also, there are 1 or 2 stations which are pilot stations, but we don't tell the candidates which they are. We test to see whether they are up to the standard, whether they are doing what they are meant to be doing, look at the data, and then modify them, and then the next examination, they will be part of the OSCE. There may be 25 stations, of which 2 would be pilot stations. Pilot meaning marks from those 2 stations will not influence your result. That is, those are there to test the question, test the station. Similarly, in MCQs and written papers, there will be questions, the result of which will not influence your grade. We are testing to see whether the questions are valid, they are reliable, they are consistent, they do all the things, okay? Then part 2, again, OSCE, dental banking test, diagnosis and treatment planning, and medical emergencies. So all those things are in part 2. Again, pass rate is unfortunately low, and it's an expensive examination also. And there is a backlog because during the pandemic, we couldn't hold these examinations. Okay. If you want to go to USA, it's very hard. Best way is to go to one of the dental schools and get a dental degree, DDS. There's no shortcut. But if you are accepted, you can complete the shorter version of the DDS program because you already have a dental degree. And what are called advanced planning programs, usually in America, you have to have a degree to start with before you do the dental degree or a medical degree. You already have a degree. So they are graduate entry programs. And Australia has gone the same way too. You need to have a general degree before you go on to do the dental degree or a medical degree. So it's very long, okay? So once you get the DDS or a DMD, foreign dentists can earn the American dental degree and eligible to practice in the US. I used to teach in the American University in London one time. And so I have a fair idea. Those candidates are very, very mature because they have already got a degree. They are not like the school leavers who we get, very mature. And it's challenging to teach them also. You have to be up to date on your toes because they will challenge you in the class as you teach. They will challenge you. If you say, this is what to do, and they will, why? Why do you say, what is the evidence? Okay, they will challenge you. They are very mature students. So if you want to go to Canada, it's very, very hard. It's a closed community. Only a handful of Sri Lankans practice in Canada. They are all friends of mine. They had a hard time getting into the Canadian Dental Register. And this is National Dental Board examination has to be taken. Very hard examination, okay? But you can follow a bridging program and then go on to do the examination, okay? And then you either do a DDS program, okay, or the shortened degree program. So that's the way to do it in Canada. Again, if you go to the internet, you can find a lot more detail about this. And lots of stages for Canada, and very expensive business too. You have to submit the paperwork, you have an assessment of fundamental knowledge, assessment of the clinical judgment, assessment of clinical skills, written and OSCE. And that is where this comprehensive oral health care comes. Clinical decision making, clinical reasoning is important part and parcel of all these examinations. And that's where a lot of people find challenging. Okay. Expensive business too, very, very expensive. In Australia, then you have to have a qualification approved by the Dental Board of Australia. Okay. There's initial assessment, written assessment, and practical assessment. But our postgraduates, because they have followed the lengthy program, 5-year training program, they get what you call limited registration, so that our postgraduates can go to Australia, work in a dental hospital, finish their overseas training component and come back. But that is limited registration. You can't go into practice with that one. If you want to go into practice, you need to have a proper qualification, proper assessment and the like. Okay. Again, if you go to Australian Dental Association website, you can find all the information. Sorry. I need to go back. Oh. New Zealand, you have to have qualifications, assess being, it's a lengthy process, you know, whole lot of things to do. We have quite a lot of Sri Lankans actually practicing in New Zealand. There are Professor Rohan Kumar is there. And there's another colleague, I forget the name. Asha De Silva is there. And then there are quite a number in practice also. About a decade ago, I visited Australia and they gave entertained me to dinner, and I met about 15 or 20 of Sri Lankan graduates in New Zealand. So quite a number practicing. Australia has quite a large number who have gone from here and passed all these hurdles and decided to practice. And I wish you good luck. And world is your oyster. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you very much for listening. I hope it was entertaining and interesting and motivated and inspired you to follow in my footsteps. I'm not the only one. There are plenty of others who are very eminent. I'm just one of them. There are plenty of others who have gone further than I have gone. Okay. So I wish you success in your future careers. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your enlightening words, sir. May I please request you to remain on stage a little longer? I'm positive that not only the students, but all of us are inspired by seeing your commitment and dedication that led to an exceptionally successful career. And with that note, I'd like to invite Dean of the Faculty of Dental Sciences, Professor Manjula Artigala, and convener of the Shaping Our Lives team, Professor Chanta Jayawardena, to present the certificate of appreciation to our speaker today. Thank you, sir. I'd like to request our speaker as well as Professor Artigal to bear with us and remain on stage for a little longer. The students have prepared a small token of appreciation for you, sir. And to present it on behalf of all the students, I'd like to call upon Chamatka, Divya, and Sanuka to come up on stage. Thank you very much, sir. From the beginning to the end, you had us enticed with your words, sir. So there's no doubt that you're a great teacher, even though we were not fortunate enough to become your students. You said that you were embarrassed to hear all the praises, sir, but all of us are truly proud of you and humbled by your genuine and kind demeanor. If I'm to remind a few of your words, remember where you come from, do not forget your origins, make most of the opportunities that you receive, and never give up learning. Never stop working hard for what you want. And you have to complete your work. You have to maintain high standards and keep your mind open, be inquisitive. While enjoying your work, while serving others, and reflecting on your work, as well as taking risks. So the ultimate, the request is to have a clear vision of where you want to be. But I believe our students would definitely remember one thing you said, sir, that is mischief can be managed without getting caught. And that they will remember. So thank you very much, sir. Please obtain your seats in the audience. We have allocated some time for a discussion and Q&A session. So once again, I would like to invite Chamatka, Divya and Divaharan to moderate this session and make most out of it. We will get microphones.
Hello. Thank you, sir, for your valuable speech. So I'm pretty sure the audience have a lot of questions to ask. And if you have a question, please. Seems like Sidmi is having a question now.
Sir, I have a question. Apart from the academic qualifications you listed there, are there any other additional qualifications that would give us an edge when getting employment abroad? Like, for example, any language, any degree on any language, or any human resource management degree or anything like that?
Essentially, for UK and Australia and New Zealand, you have to have a certain level of English language ability. There's a universal examination. There are two things. One is called IELTS. I believe for undergraduate programs, you have to get level 5 or level 7, 6.5. Yeah, 6.5, I'm told. Some call it TOEFL, the American one. So you have to have minimum level of competence. And the reason is, in the past, some students have come with inadequate English ability and struggled. And the universities are responsible for making sure that graduates complete the degrees. So they do not accept those without sufficient English competence. That's the basic thing. Anything else, if you are doing dentistry or a dental degree, is useful, but not necessarily so. You need to have, number one, of course, dental knowledge and skills and attitudes, very good communication skills. And that is where some of our postgraduates also fail, because our relationship with fellow staff and patients may be very different to the way we treat our colleagues, junior colleagues, nurses, support staff, and the patients. Okay, communication is not merely telling you do this, you do that, not ordering people about. No. So communication skills and English language ability are the most important. And being able to relate to people. I told you very much how you have to treat people with respect. Even you would have seen, I don't know whether you have observed me, I will talk to the driver, I will talk to the security guard, I'll talk to the porter, I will talk to everyone and treat them with respect. And at Queen Mary, everyone knows me because I will stop and talk. And you need to be able to relate to people and treat them with respect. And you treat the nurses, the radiographers, everybody with respect. But remember, without them, you can't do your work. It is important that you learn to relate and communicate effectively and clearly. It's not merely ordering people about, very different. And that's something that is lacking in us, sadly. Some overcome these, but it's important. And I remember Sri Lankan Medical and Dental Association did run some workshop in Colombo for the PhDs who are going to come to UK, because we had some complaints from the consultant, and Dilip will confirm this, because the consultant said these trainees cause trouble. The support staff complained, saying they are very rude to us, and they don't seem to respect us, and so on and so forth. So English language ability, communication skills ability, being able to relate to people on a respectful, friendly manner, and it's a two-way process. Those are the important. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I also have a question. Like, as students, are there any opportunities for us to go and complete our degree in another country?
Not at the moment, not that I am aware of. We have a program within Europe. Mind you, now that in UK is out of European Union, I'm not sure what's going to happen. We have what is called Erasmus program. You can start the dental degree in UK, say after DS2 or 3, you can go to another country, spend 12 months there and come back, and that year's learning is counted and complete the degree. I do not think that is available at the moment. We have what is called electives, but that is a very short period. And in the past, I have actually taught UK students to this dental faculty. And when I was a senior tutor, actually I did accept the work done here, but not everybody will accept the work done here.
Thank you, sir. And sir, what are the weaknesses and strengths that you noticed as Sri Lankans when you first went abroad? I mean, do we lack straightforwardness, or do we lack confidence as Sri Lankans when you are practicing in abroad?
Number one, our servile attitude. Yes, we have got to be respectful, but you have got to be confident. In UK, we don't call anybody sir. We don't do that. Sir is reserved for those who have got actually a knighthood. Not anybody else. So we don't call anybody sir. It's common in Sri Lanka. I know you do that out of respect. I will call my prof. Okay. Professor Newell Johnson was my supervisor, and I used to call him as I went, because I was Sri Lankan and it was 1970. I said, sir. First thing he said with, don't call me sir. And he said, call me Newell, his first name. I found it uncomfortable to call him by his first name. He was my supervisor. So I started calling him prof. That is accepted. And a lot of people will call me either Dr. Sam or Prof. Sam or Prof. or whatever. Others will call me Sam. because my surname is a bit of a tongue twister. So don't be servile. Be respectful, but don't be servile. That's one of the things. And also, we need to learn to speak fluently, clearly. And Sri Lankans tend to have the habit of speaking 13 to the dozen. We speak very, very fast and they won't understand. And you need to learn a bit of the British accent. And I often tell a lot of students, listen to BBC Radio, World Service Radio, and learn their pronunciation a little bit. You don't have to exactly copy their accent, the way they speak. I have kept my accent, but I speak clearly and they can understand. So you need to be a good communicator, very good communicator. Okay? And punctuality has been a problem, not only among Sri Lankans. Our big neighbor, and I used to joke because I had a lot of postgraduate students from that part of the world. I used to tell them, you are punctually late. Okay? And punctuality is a problem. 7 o'clock means 7 o'clock, not 7:05. And I often would turn up if I'm having an interview or a lecture or something. I will always turn up before time to make sure that I'm there. And you know, my 40 odd years in the UK, I don't think I have ever been late to work. Why? Our start time is 9, but I usually in my office by 8 o'clock. And I will take 2 or 3 trains earlier, because even if a train is late or cancelled, I will still be there on time. And even when there was a train strike, I have gone to work. I walked. That was no excuse for not turning up for work. And if I don't turn up at the head of the department, I can't expect others to turn up. Yes, I have walked 10 miles to get to work. That's the attitude we have. And you can't give excuses and say, oh, somebody's ill or whatever. No, you have got to turn up and do the work and finish the work. And we don't watch the clock. And most of us who have trained in UK will understand. We never leave home at 5 o'clock, do we? We stay and finish the work. Shanta will know when you are training and we never leave on time. Finish the work and then go home. Finish the work, whatever you have got to do, and then leave. Never 9 to 5. And for academics, there is no hours per week. For certain jobs, there is 35 hours or 40 hours of work. My average used to be 6 hours per week. So I have got to do the work. Finish it. So I, on average, put 60 hours per week. It doesn't mean I get paid overtime. I'm expected to deliver, to take a responsible position, to deliver. But others are dependent on your delivery. Others' careers, future will depend on your delivery. Therefore, you have got to deliver, no matter what. No excuses. No, simply because there's snow, you can't say, I can't come to work today. Turn up. You plan for it. And make sure. There are times I have stayed in town because I know next day is going to be a heavy snowfall. So I go and stay in town to make sure that I can be there at work the next day. You have to have the commitment and the dedication. Otherwise, don't take it on. Okay?
Sir, I have a question, sir. After finishing dental degree in Peradeniya, is there an opportunity to work as like dental assistant or dental hygienist in another country till we get pass their exams?
A lot of people do that actually. A lot of people do that. There are a lot of, for example, Indian dentists working as dental nurses. I have met a couple of Sri Lankan dentists also who worked as dental nurses and then managed to pass the qualifying examination, registration examination, and then went on to become dentists. But it is frowned upon by our nursing colleagues, saying these people are overqualified for the job, but nothing to prevent you doing that. There are a lot of people who do that to support themselves while they are sitting for the registration examination or the LDSRCS examination. Yes, it is happening because you have to support yourself. It's an expensive examination. It takes time to complete both parts. And people do that, but it is not officially sanctioned route. But a lot of people do that. Yes, that system is still there. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Very, very difficult. Very low pass rate. Very low pass. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. A lot of Sri Lankan postgraduates, if they sit for the examination, will sail through it because we have had so much good training, and we love to have Sri Lankan postgraduates. Yeah.
I mean, work as SHO during those 5 years and get adhered to the system and then sit for the worry.
The problem is very simple. When you look at the medical side, there are hundreds of jobs in each dental hospital. On the dental side, there are very few jobs. So if they are to accept large number of overseas graduates into SHO posts, there won't be places for British graduates. And also now, dentistry is listed as a restricted profession. You cannot get a visa for that. There are different categories of workers, professions that are allowed to take on foreign graduates. At the moment, they have opened up, for example, care home sector. A lot of the Sri Lankan nurses are now going to work in care homes. Care homes meaning nursing homes, as you call them here.
So here the nursing homes is different.
Yeah.
Here the nursing home is like hospital.
All right.
This is elderly home.
Elderly home, elderly homes. Now that have been opened up, and it have been taken off as a closed profession. But dentistry is not, and simply because there aren't enough jobs. Each dental hospital will have only a handful. For example, in restorative, there will be one senior registrar, one registrar or two registrars, and a couple of HOs. That's all. And normally, they are given to your own graduates. We were the first dental hospital to accept graduates from other hospitals, other dental schools. Usually, they keep them for their own graduates because we have say 70 graduates of that. Only 10 people will be given hospital jobs, others going to practice, or what we call a general practice training scheme. They go and work in approved training practices for 2 years. That is the reason. Otherwise, you could go and work as HOs, SHOs, and learn the ropes, learn the skills and the knowledge, and adapt the British way of practice, and then sit for the registration examination. So, but for certain jobs, academia especially, you can work on a temporary registration. I did that for 2 years on a temporary registration. I was invited by my dental school to come back and take a lecturer's job, and I didn't have the registration at the time, but they gave me temporary registration. But it was only for 2 years, and during that time, luckily I passed the examination first time and joined the register. Yeah.
Just to motivate these guys, like in my case, it was advertised on the internet. So they said your job, I just applied.
Yeah.
And they called me for the interview. So I had the risk of going there, paying my own money. If
Yeah.
I don't get it, that's that.
That's right.
So I went there, and even they were good enough to pay me the train ticket from London to Chesterfield.
Yeah,
Because that's
yeah.
how they pay for the interviews
That's
you are
right.
paid,
Yeah, yeah.
not from overseas. But
Yeah.
somehow I got it.
Yeah.
Right. So they asked, as you said, the few questions, the personal skills, the how to manage the emergency cares. So there were 2 interviews. So I mean, after that, I mean, it was a very easy pathway, as you said, if you are good with your colleagues, how to address them.
Address them. That's right. But you have been actually unique person, Dilip, in that, because if you look at the BDJ now, how many jobs are advertised? Very, very few. A large number go into what we call vocational training scheme. That is, in other words, only a handful of hospital jobs are available. Majority, we have about 1,000 dental graduates each year coming out of all the dental schools. So we have selected practices which are called training practices, and you go into one of those training practices. During that time, you are given a salary irrespective of the output. And you do that for 2 years. And after that, then you apply to become either an associate or a partner in a practice or whatever. Vast majority is for general practice, general dental practice in UK. Only a small number going to hospital dental practice. Yeah. Research, again, if there are no home graduates, they will take on overseas candidates. But coming for a temporary period is different to complete a PhD. There are grant schemes and all various things available. And you can apply, and if you are good enough, you have a good CV, you have a good proposal, and it matches with somebody, a supervisor, prospective supervisor's interests, you might be given a job to do as a research assistant or a postgraduate student with a grant. Yes, that is doable. With medicine, it's completely different. I know our PG trainees are often supported by the PGIM stipend. But for the doctors, they can often get a job, paid job, for their training, because there are hundreds of jobs available, and there's a shortage of, especially in certain professions. And with the UK leaving European Union, lots of the European dentists, doctors have left, so there are a lot of vacancies. And that's what happened to the elderly home sector. They were staffed by European Polish nurses. They have returned. So there are a lot of vacancies, and UK prefers Sri Lankan and Indian nurses to Philippine nurses. They are the biggest group coming into that sector. They prefer, because of the colonial link and the language and all the things, prefer to get Sri Lankans and Indians. Yeah. I don't want to give you false hopes, but at the same time, there are opportunities. Like Professor Dilip Silva has the teeth opportunity, and he was able to sell himself. That's what I would call it. You were able to sell yourself with your communication skills, knowledge, and experience. Yes.
With Sri Lankan consultant qualification, can we work in USA or Canada?
USA and Canada completely different, very, very different. You have to do their examination and follow their rule, irrespective of what you are, who you are. There are a handful of Sri Lankans working in USA. One was in dental public health and in research. Another one, a couple of years junior to me, he trained in Scandinavia. He went to Denmark for his postgraduate training in Perio, and he went to USA and passed the state board examination, and he's practicing as a periodontologist in Eastern United States. I will not mention the name. Of course, what we had very famous person who became a leading prosthetic surgeon he was a year junior to me. I have taught him in my first year as an assistant lecturer. He then went on to do a medical degree as well. And he was fantastic with his hands. And he worked in a very famous hospital and worked as a prosthetic surgeon. And he created his own artificial ears and artificial eyes and all sorts of things. He used his combined his dental and manual skills with surgery. Very good. Very few and far between. America is a difficult nut to crack because cost of getting the state board examination. They expect you to find the patient also. You have to pay somebody to be your patient for the examination. Any other questions?
Sir, is there any opportunities to practice as a, for the dental graduate, practice as a medical doctor or also specialized in medical specialists such as pediatrics and ophthalmology?
Obviously, you need to go and get your medical degree. Yes. First get the medical degree, and once you get it, the medical degree, of course, there are more opportunities. Yes. But you have to get a dual qualification, like people planning to do OMFS do in UK as traditional. You do your dental degree, then you go to medical school and do the medical degree, then embark on your surgical training. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I'm a postgraduate trainee, so don't consider this question as a racist question. My question is now when it comes to board exams anywhere in the world, in developed countries, medicine or dentistry, whatever, we see a lot of Indians dominating. So what are the secrets behind their success? What we lack? Do they have something else? So in your experience, because you have seen this and you have experienced this, and as a responsible person, like, can you share what are the secrets behind the so-called success?
It is simply large numbers of them applying. That's the number. That's the bottom line. Seriously, all LDS overseas examination, overseas registration examination, we have hundreds of Indians applying because India produces how many thousands of dentists each year? 60,000. The sheer numbers, even if you take 1% of 60,000, how many? That's the reason. Nothing else. Some are from good schools, okay, and they know their stuff. Some are, I'm sorry, absolutely useless. And I have seen them. I feel sorry for them because they have spent so much money and wanting to pass because in India itself, when we are competing with 60,000 others to establish a practice, very hard, and you don't earn much, so you want to go. And if you go to Middle East full of Indians. Go to Oman, go to Saudi, lots of Indian practicing there, good ones and bad ones. But again, they have introduced examinations now. In Oman, for example, you have to do what is called a prometric examination. You have to pass the examination and then only you can practice. Yeah.
So next question is now when it comes
it's
to...
not racist, just simply the large numbers do come. And also, exam must be passed by Australians, Americans, Canadians, the whole lot. And I come across Australians doing the registration examination or LDS RCS because General Dental Council does not recognize any foreign qualification. Up to 92 or maybe earlier, they did recognize South African qualification, University of Malaya, yeah, and Australian qualification, New Zealand qualifications. Not now, nothing is recognized. So everyone has to for the examination. Only thing is, Australians pass it easily. South Africans pass it easily because they have the right background and attitude. It's not because they are white, no. Because they the required level. New Zealand also. But they all have to sit for the examination. not racism anyway. If you are competent, you will pass the examination. Yep.
Next question is getting accredited. Now, when it comes to some of the MD degrees, like MD medicine, general surgery, gynecology, anesthesiology, they can actually work. Some components of the flap are exempted. When it comes to dentistry, there's nothing like that. So in the future, what can we do as to become getting accredited? Now the course is, I followed a 4-year course.
It's in your hands. It's in your hands to raise the standard, do the best, and have a high standard of knowledge and skills and practice. That's what we are all trying to do here. Raise the standard, and there is another component to it. When you comes to all these MD examination, in the same way, MD restorative dentistry or MD pediatric dentistry, we have a foreign external examiner. So they know what the standard is like, right? So it comes to MD, gene and obs or whatever, because the Royal College of Physicians or Royal College of Radiologists or something is involved, they know the standard. So they are willing to exempt, and you have to pass a simple examination called flap, and then you get the registration. For dentistry, because of the nature of dentistry, there is no simple examination. Simple examinations are the LDS and the ORE. Okay, but if our MD people sit for those examinations, they will pass easily. I know few people who have passed from Sri Lanka, but I will not mention the names. It's not right. I don't have their permission to mention it. And I have seen them and I have examined them, right? But we treat everybody fairly. And one of the things I was driving when I was in the examination board for these examinations to make sure everyone is treated fairly. Because that's the least I can do to make sure it is equitable, it's fair. I always drove home the fact that these are professionals. Therefore, we treat them fairly. You have to get through the ORE or the LDSRCS. No shortcuts.
I don't know whether you are aware that the medical degrees in Sri Lanka, they are going to, not only Sri Lanka now, in USA and other countries, even in the European countries, from 22 or 23 onwards, it's closed. And it's a generalized accreditation that they're going to depend on. So it is happening in Sri Lanka at the moment. There is a body which accredits a group in a country, and they will accredit the medical schools. So I also attended that particularly. Unfortunately, I raised the question regarding the dental, but they have no sort of idea regarding the dentistry. Now, Dr. Palit Abekon is the one who is heading that.
Right, okay.
Yeah. So that process is going on at the moment, and kind of an internal accreditation process is introduced across the medical faculties. Now, I think the Peradeniya has to face it within another few days' time. So then it is across the globe that they can straight go and work there once they get the accreditation for that particular medical faculty. So that's what we are trying hard here. I raised that question last time when Professor Lakshman Samarayaka came in the same program, but it's prohibitively costly for us to go for accreditation because annually we have to pay a huge sum to maintain that accreditation, even if we meet with the criteria.
That's right.
So what he advised was to sort of go for a local or regional accreditation first, and then look for other accreditations. So we are actually looking for that, and at a very high level, we are working for that, at least for a regional, at the regional level.
I believe that's the path, because if you look back in the 60s, for example, Peradeniya medical degree was recognized and registrable with the 2171 General Medical Council. Okay. And I was here when the last General Medical Council visitation took place, and it was accepted. But when teaching was switched to Sinhala and Tamil, they didn't want to know. Okay, that was one big mistake Sri Lanka made. Other thing that happened with the dental accreditation was this. Each country, each dental fraternity must pay General Dental Council huge sum of money for a team of assessors to visit and inspect your degree program and give accreditation. Australians flatly refused, saying, we are not going to pay you to come and visit our school and accredit. Who are you to tell us who we are? You know, typical Australian attitude. Refuse to say. He said, if you want to come, you pay yourself and come and inspect. Our degree is good enough. So that was the end of foreign visits, foreign accreditation. So they abandoned Australia. And to be fair to the whole world, they stopped accrediting the University of Malaya degree, South Africa, everything went by. That was the end of that. If this goes through, it would be very welcome move. But at the end of the day, please remember, we have so many inspections of our dental school. There is the one body comes and assesses research, then another body comes and assesses our teaching quality, right? Then the General Dental Council also visit regularly to see whether we are up to scratch. And if you pass, all you get is your degree is sufficient. That's all they say. But they come and spend, observe our examinations, final examinations, exam examinations. They come on a surprise visit to see how we are teaching and doing our in-course assessments. So we go through a huge amount of quality assurance process. I believe it is beginning here. Is that? Yeah. And so high standard is maintained. Otherwise, what happens? You use the registration. Then you are done. So we spend a lot of time making sure our standards are high and we are on a par with the other dental schools and satisfy the General Dental Council. I have been an assessor myself. I have visited other schools as part of a team to make sure that they meet the standard. And one thing is, of course, they are all our colleagues and friends, but none of that will matter when it's an inspection. Even it is one of your good colleagues who is on the other side of the table, you treat them the same way. You treat somebody totally unknown to you. And visits are a common place for teaching quality, research quality, clinical practice, all the things, all the time. There's something happening every year. And Dilip will know that very well, really. And you know that's happening here also. But UGC has a system of visits, isn't it? Inspections, yeah. And we have to maintain that. And it lies with you to maintain high standard, practice to a high standard, no shortcuts. And that's why I'm so pleased with the comprehensive oral care, because that is a foundation of our dental practice. Very, very important. Not compartmentalized practice, no. Yes, you may learn skills in each discipline, but you have got to put it together and practice. And those who aspire to go to UK or any other country and sit for registration examination will do well to work in comprehensive oral care, either as a teacher or a supervisor or as a student, take part in that and get that concept into your head about clinical decision making, clinical reasoning. That's where a lot of the students fail. It's very critical, and you will have a better chance of passing these examinations if you can learn to practice comprehensive oral care. I know a lot of people are reluctant to commit themselves to this. They are actually shooting themselves in the foot. That's the advice I give to anyone and everyone.
Can you My question is, earlier it was a 4-year degree. Now it's 5-year. Is there an advantage of this 5-year curriculum for us if we are going abroad? And
There is a big advantage because all the other dental degrees are 5 years. For the simple reason, to learn dentistry to a certain level of competence, you need that length of time. And our graduate in the end do 7 years, 5 years to get the BDS, and another 2 years vocational training. Only you get the registration properly, proper registration, 7 years. Yep.
So, is there any pathway, bridging course or something to do medicine in UK after completing our BDS here?
For UK graduates, yes, you can do medicine in a shorter period. You get accreditation for prior learning, some of it, but it's very, very tough, because you have got to learn so much within 4 years or 3 years, depending on which university, medical school. 3 years, yeah. You couldn't, yeah. So you get some accreditation for prior learning. And if your dental degree is in what you call recognized list, not registerable, there are two different things. One is registration, one is what you call accredited degree. Because some degrees, with some certain degrees, you can't even come to do a MSc course. They say, no, your degree is not accredited degree. You can't do even a MSc. I believe Sri Lankan degree is in that sense accredited. With a Sri Lankan degree, you can go and do a master's or PhD or whatever. I went with the BDS to do my PhD, Sri Lankan BDS. Okay, it was in a list. It was accepted. So I could didn't have to do a qualifying examination. Yeah.
So that means, can we also do that 3-year fast course in medicine if we?
You can. Very, very competitive. There are limited number of places each year available for these dentists who want to do medicine, but you have to pay the fees. I'll tell you the difference, okay? There are what are called home fees, European fees, and overseas fees. For a dental degree, I would imagine at the moment, annual fee would be in the region of £40,000, right? Home students will pay only 6,000 or 9,000 pounds. That's the difference. Right?
That means
hang on a minute. There are few Sri Lankans who are paying the fee and doing that. And they happen to be orphan children of politicians. I know a few of them because they are good friends with my daughter. Yeah, you leading GPs.
So what are the opportunities in Ireland?
Just excuse me. Leading GPs, their children are studying in UK medical schools, yeah. And few in Australia, few in Hong Kong, yes. Some in Singapore, yeah. Sorry, what was the other question?
So what are the
opportunities in Ireland? Ireland tend to follow UK model. They also have a similar registration examination. You have to pass, and all curriculum will be an issue. Yeah, yeah. One of the things I did when you were going for the 5-year course was I gave you what you call European equivalent learning hours, that sort of thing. There is a particular number of hours, and I remember the Professor Disanayaka was the dean. And he wanted the documentation, and I provided all the documentation about how many hours will be accepted. And I believe that was incorporated into the 5-year curriculum, that number of hours, because there's a certain minimum number of hours of this and that and the other, student workload and contact hours and so on and so forth. So certainly 5-year degree program will qualify for a lot of the places. The 4-year degree will not. But American degrees are 4 years. Why? Because they are graduates already. That's the difference. And there was another school I will not mention who were trying to follow the American method. And I said, please don't, because American degree is 4 years, but because they already have a degree. So they are graduate entry programs. Okay. So 5-year, those who qualify now with a 5-year degree will have a better chance of getting employment or passing examination or getting accreditation or temporary registration, because you have that number of hours you can certify as having spent learning dentistry. And it's broken up into, there is what is called, what is that, the sheet you produce? There is a data sheet you provide. In addition to your degree certificate, you give a breakdown of transcript. Yeah, that's right. When you do the 5-year degree transcript, that will match the UK degree transcript. That's the one, yeah, transcript. That's right. And I remember there was a major hassle about that, because the Irish Dental Council said this does not satisfy their number of hours of study. Yeah. So you do well to spend the time learning dentistry. The 5 years is a must. Yeah. Yeah. That was also added. Yeah. Any other questions?
Sir, is there any technological differences in between the way we treat here? I mean, they are more developed, so they might have a higher technology or something. If so, for all those exams, how are we supposed to know them and how are we supposed to practice them?
Say it again.
Compared to Sri Lanka, the more developed countries might have more higher kind of technologies, or a certain way they are practicing there. If so, how are we going to face those exams to their level?
I don't think technology per se matters. At the end of the day, we don't teach everything. You are supposed to learn for yourself. We give you the curriculum. We tell you the learning objectives. Some of it will be covered in lectures and seminars, right? Rest you have got to learn yourself. We use technology to support teaching and learning. Okay, and it was developed greatly during the lockdown when the students could not attend. We adopted Zoom and Microsoft Teams in a very big way in delivering our teaching. So a lot of the lectures went online, and that has not changed. We have minimum number of face-to-face lectures and the like. Practical classes have come back, okay, that you can't teach online. But the theoretical component has remained online. But we use technology to support education, teaching and learning. But technology per se is not going to make much of change. But we give a lot of responsibility for students to learn for themselves. A lot of responsibility among students. For example, we expect the students to read papers, evidence-based dentistry. And that's why in COC, those final year students who have presented, and I asked, where are the references? I know a lot of you rely only on lecturers' notes. That's not good enough. You have got to read the journals. You have the dental update here. You have the BDJ. You have some other journals available. Not only that, if you care to go online, there are a lot of papers with free access. I know that because I do it myself. I do search and get access to papers and read them, save them onto my computer and read them. And you have got to do that. Merely relying on teachers' notes is not good enough, and you will struggle to pass the registration examination. You will struggle to pass the LDSRCS examination. And some of the questions are not taught in schools. You have got to have read widely, and we expect you to quote references if you make a statement. This is where you found it, evidence-based dentistry. So you have got to learn to read, I'm afraid.
So before winding up, I think it was not mentioned in your CV and your video. I think it should be fair by you. And since there's a restorative PD training, I think you trained the senior most restorative consultant in the country at the moment. Dr. Vasanta was one of your trainees in 2001, and I can remember I visited you in King's College in 2001, and you haven't changed much since then, though I have been very old since then. So all the best, sir.
What keeps me young is students. Seriously. I move with young people. So I have, though I am 77 years of age, I have a youngest attitude. I'm more like 20 something. In my attitude, yes. That hasn't changed. I'm up to mischief even now. That hasn't changed, but I never got caught. I don't intend to get caught. Working with students is the best thing I could have done. We do. And my colleagues will attest to that. Being with you and sharing your jokes and aspirations is one of the best things. And now we are here to help you. I had a lot of helping hands, and we do the same for you.
Excuse me, sir. Sir, is there any country that we can practice dentistry without doing further studies and examinations? Doing further studies and examinations.
Well, even Sri Lanka, you have to pass the final BDS.
After doing BDS?
Pass the examinations, you have to prove your competence, unfortunately, because we have people's health in our hands. That is the thing with the health professions, isn't it? We have to prove that we are safe, we are competent. That's the reason you have got to pass very high standard examinations.
So if I could just add, yes, Maldives you can, and Madagascar, to my knowledge, right? No, Madagascar is an African country, motors on the Indian Ocean. So you can practice if you want with your BDS and registration.
Thank you, sir, and thank you, dear students, for all the questions. One final question, I think on behalf of all of our students, since the retirement age has been extended to 65 years, and there's some limitation in the employment opportunities available in Sri Lanka. So with all what we have talked about today, students might be feeling a little disheartened. So anything positive you can give them, sir, as in any thing to look forward to?
Yes. Dedication. Okay. You need to be reliable. You need to be dedicated to your work. You must deliver a service expected of you. If you are supposed to treat patients in a government clinic, you must do that first. And then go and do your private practice. You do a job well and find satisfaction in your job. And there'll be a lot of opportunities open to you. It was given to me because I went to UK in 70. I returned in 75. In 1983, my old prof approached me and said, would you like to come back? That's why I went. Because as my wife told me, they knew I will work hard and deliver. There was a vacancy and they called me back and I went and got initially as a temporary lecturer. and rose to the ranks. And when he retired, I took his place as prof, because they knew I will deliver. And same thing applies to you. If you are willing to deliver, work hard for your dream, doors will open. Despite all these obstacles by way of registration, examinations, and all the other things. And if you put your mind to it, you can pass. Others have passed. I passed the examination. There are others who have passed. A lot of here who Dilip has passed, Manil has passed, so many others have passed. My good friend Saman Varnakurusule has passed, Sam Samaranak has passed. There are a lot of others who have passed the examination by maintaining a high standard of commitment and work. You can do it. Not all of you. Few of you will get there. But it's the high standard and the commitment that will take you where you want to go. If a village boy like me, who went to school barefoot, can do it, you can do it. That's the message I give you.
Thank you very much, sir. If there are any more questions, you can forward them to our Madam Chanta Jayawardena, and I'm sure that she will communicate with sir and let you know. I think we are ready to conclude the discussion session. Is there anything more to add, sir?
Nothing more to add. I hope you found the information useful. Did you? I always like feedback. Did you find the information useful? That is the important thing. Did it motivate you? Partly. Because I have to tell you the truth. I'm sorry, I have to tell you the truth. You have got to, we have to tell you the truth. We can't tell you lies. I'm not a politician. Remember that. Okay? I hope you found it fun and enjoyable. That's what matters. Learning can be fun. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I would like to invite one of the main organizers of this session, Dr. Nadisha Pieratna, to deliver the word of thanks.
It is with great pleasure that I propose the vote of thanks on the 7th session organized by the Team Sol. First of all, I would like to thank our guest speaker, Professor D.Y.D. Samaravikrama. Thank you very much, sir, for your inspiring words. We are honored to listen to you today. Secondly, I would like to thank the Dean, Professor Manjula Artigala, for giving his fullest cooperation to Sol. Secondly, I would like to thank Professor Chanta Jayawardena, the jeering force behind Sol. Thank you very much, madam, for your excellent leadership. Members of the Sol team, Vishwa, Gayani, Miss Arandi, and Nimna, nothing would have been possible without you all. Sol is a team where academic staff and non-academic staff and students work together. A big thank you to all the student representatives, especially Chamatka, Vindhya, Thiva, Kushan. You all did a great job today. Next, I would like to thank Ms. Janaki and team, and also the audiovisual team, Mr. Dhammika, Viduranga, and Mr. Aravinda. Also, we cannot forget the silent service done by Mr. Vijay Kumaran and Mr. Herath. Thank you very much. Last but not the least, I would like to thank all of you, all the participants, especially the academic staff members to motivate us and also the students. Thank you very much for making this event a success. I hope we can soon meet again in another interesting session organized by the team Shaping of Our Lives. Thank you and good night.
Thank you, Dr. Nadisha. Anyway, during these times where life has become quite difficult for all of us, because when you step out of the university, when you step out of the hospital, the outside world is a mess. It's chaos out there. So your words will help us to keep in our minds that we can change our future and it's not the end yet, hopefully. So whatever that you heard today, I hope you see the good side of it and make your dreams come true. We are concluding the 7th session on shaping our lives. And with that note, good night and stay safe.
too much photo photo පහක් වගේ තිබ්බ නේද? දෙන්න ඕනේ මෙහෙම. දෙන්නේ නැහැ. මේක කරාම කරනවා